Alright everybody, welcome back to Genshin Impact, and today we're going to be fighting two bosses. We're going to start with this fat Dino, which you can find here. This is the Gluttonous Yumkasaur Mountain King. If you're trying to skip the quest and get immediately to Kachina and Kanish's materials, just kind of hop down in this crevice. You can probably see like right here, you can't really miss it. Just kind of walk over to the cliff and just drop down. And you just have to go downstairs from this little waterfall, activate this little teleporter, and there you have it. Literally a massive fat dino. So for this boss fight, we're going to be using just Amber and Geo Traveler, because Amber is kind of goated for this fight. Because this boss fight revolves around this dude eating fruits. So I'll explain a little bit, but let me get to the unit selection first and how they're built. Alright, so for Fat Dino, I'm bringing both my Linettes, the one with 1 and 2 ends, Noelle for the double Pyro, or sorry, double Geo bonus, and Amber is here just for the fact that she is not only mandatory, but she is also accessible and safe, because I would suggest using ranged Pyro units for the mechanics of this particular fight. So if you have Yoimiya, or anyone that applies Pyro very quickly, so if you don't want to use Amber, you can use the 3 strikes with Diluc or Yoimiya. Chevre's not recommended because she can only do 1 instance, you know. But if you have someone like Arlecchino, she'll work just fine. But avoid people that have a very long cooldown for their fire attacks. So I would say like Hu Tao's fine, Xiangling maybe, Linny of course is fine, but Amber is the one and only for me, and also she is the free-to-play option, which is the point of this guide. So for the builds, very simple. Traveler is using the Sword and Assistant Cruise, and Noblesse Oblige. This build pretty much will never change for these guides. Amber, since she's only here for mechanics and applying Pyro for my Lynette, even though that she's using Stringless and Crimson Witch, she isn't going to be doing much damage because I actually built her for Amberger, which is Elemental Mastery Bunny Bombing, and we're not going to be doing that here. For Noelle, build has not changed since 1965. We have White Blind and Gladiator's Finale. She is just pure defense, and she'll do some damage if I want her to, but since she cleaves people in half due to the fact that she's C6, I will not be using her in that fashion. And of course, Lynette with 1N is going to be my person that takes advantage of the Pyro that Amber will make. So we'll have Festering Desire, 4-piece VV, and anywho, that's pretty much it for the lineup. Let's get to the fight. Alright, so we're going to disturb this guy's sleep, unfortunately, with an arrow to the face. I'm going to need this guy to be finished, dude. I got an externship at 6:30, and it's 12 AM. But if you stay at a range distance, he'll just kind of spit at you like this, and he'll do this about like 1 or 2 times, and then he'll do something else. And lucky for us, and this is the main mechanic of the fight, this is why Amber is here, if he spawns 3 of these little seed things, light them on fire, and then he'll just kind of realize that eating at Taco Bell is not very good. And after the fire comes out of his ears, you're free to do damage for about 6 to 8 seconds. So you can see I'm going ham with Lynette here because Amber has applied some Pyro here, and I'm getting some Geo damage in. But you see how he like pats his stomach twice? That means that he's just going to try to do his best imitation of Turbo Twirly. Good thing Kachina is not here to see this abomination try that. But from here, that's literally like half the fight already. So you can see that he does the same thing, he spits at me. But I'll demonstrate what happens if you fail to light shit on fire. But for this one, this is one of 2 variations of that little rope swing that he does. The other one is super slow and kind of baits you, but this one does the double smash, where he kind of just sits down and like applies Dendro and AoE twice. But the majority of the fight is just him like spinning around like a Beyblade, hitting his head into a wall, and you just do some damage. So again, pats his stomach twice, runs. I almost get run over there, but the tracking isn't very good. Sometimes he'll come to the middle of the arena, but it doesn't really change much. It just seems like he likes to come here sometimes. So here he should be doing another attack where I need to do Pyro. There we go. And he'll release 3. So here's what happens if I don't do anything. 3, 1, 2, and 3. So if you're not sure what's going to happen, get Noelle out. He'll spit at you twice really fast and then do a massive fire beam. And if you're caught in the middle of that, it's not good. And he also leaves fire residue like Senora on the floor, so just be aware of that. And here's the slow one where he baits you out, but that's pretty much it. The only other differences for this fight is that maybe he'll like eat one of the seeds instead of all three, which I'll show you in a little bit. But you can do damage with geo structures like this if you're using Geo Traveler. And again, I'm just gonna apply some Pyro, do some damage with Lynette, and repeat. So here, he just shits out one seed, and if he just eats it, it'll just do damage to him, but it won't give you a DPS phase, not yet anyway. So again, here's the double Dendro Fart, and then that's pretty much the entire fight. I would say this fight takes the crown for like top 3 easiest bosses in the game. I know that in Spiral Abyss, maybe there could be something different for the boss coming up, but otherwise, this boss is easy come, easy go. You just kind of poke him in the butt a little bit, and then he'll just fall over. So, for the rest of the fight, I'm just going to bully him a little bit. He is kind of cute though, I feel kind of bad, but again, I mean, you know, my units need to eat. So again, here is the DPS phase where it'll just, and I'm just gonna go ahead. And that's it. That's literally the entire fight for this fat dino, I guess. So yeah, pretty much just make sure to light the eggs or whatever things he shits out on fire, and you have free DPS phase, and just kind of step to the side a little bit. Alrighty, so we're on to the second boss now, which you can find over here in the edge of the map. All you gotta do is follow this little path above the Stadium of the Sacred Flame, and to take you right into here, which then you can find this boss. So this boss actually is a bit more tough, that's why I'm including it second, and you'll need a Hydro unit, which is why Barbara is here, but otherwise you can bring pretty much anyone else you want. Alright, so for this fight with the Fiery Bird, the only change we're doing from the previous fight is that we're removing Amber because this boss, again, inherently has some pyro resistance, and we're going to be replacing her with Firefly. Sorry, I mean Barbara. They have the same Chinese voice actress. So I'm just bringing Barbara because she's the only free-to-play Hydro character that the game gives you. If you have someone else like Nuvolette, Mona, Tartaglia, feel free to use them, but again, because this is a free-to-play guide, I have to use Barbara, and if you only also have Barbara as well, then hey, feel free to continue watching, I guess. So the builds for all 3 of these characters will remain the same. You can see here, Lynette's still using the Sword of Narcissan Cruise and the Bless Oblige. Lynette is still using the Festering Desire along with 4-piece VV, and just like how I said, same thing as 1965, Noelle with White Blind and Gladiators for now. But with Barbara, I'm actually going to be just having her as a unit because she doesn't need to do damage, she is just there for mechanics. So you can see here I gave her Thrilling Tales of Dragon Slayers and 4-piece Ocean Hued Clam, with the majority of her stuff, minus her attack feather for some reason, at a very low level. So she'll most likely die, or at least get KO'd when it comes to taking 1 or 2 hits, so that's why Noelle is here. Just in case if your Barbara is also unbuilt, you know, bring a shielder if you can. But for damage, I'm just going to bring my 2 Lynettes, the one with 1 N and one with 2. So that's pretty much it. Let's get back to the fight. Alright, so I'm not sure if this is a bug or not, but when you're still like halfway across the country, it just spawns in and just looks at you. Maybe it's trying to threaten you and scare you away, but listen, mama didn't raise no bitch, okay? So you gotta make sure you throw that rock at its face and you let him know who's boss. And that's actually the trick. You want to stay in front of him, because you can see here it will do the exact same attack like 3-4 times even, and he'll just repeat. So again, it's just like a claw to the side and ground pound. See this? Ground pound, tries to set me on fire, just dash back and you're good to go. And like right now he's gonna sideswipe again and ground pound again, but like nothing happens because, you know, you're good at the game. But unfortunately, people who are scared when they first see this person and they run away, if you don't know how to stutter dash properly, you'll get hit like this, and unfortunately, it does a lot of damage, so keep that in mind. Now, after a little while, it'll turn into what I like to call the Golden Tyrant of bullshit. And here, you gotta stand underneath it, but after the second attack, you gotta run away, because that thing blows you up and you will die. So, after you extinguish it with Barbara and it farts on the floor, you gotta get Barbara out and you gotta constantly try vaporizing it. But the secret is to always stay within vicinity and then dash away after the second attack. So again, I'm gonna vaporize, and he's gonna come over here, fart on the floor, and then I'm just gonna stay underneath him so his attacks won't hit me like this, you see? But again, after the second attack, run away, because that thing will be like a little bit of a homing missile and then kind of screw you up. But after that, if you vape it hard enough, it will go to sleep. Yeah,
I forgot I just downed it. He's snoozing right now.
Literally just kind of pass out here, and it'll give you a very long DPS phase. You can see here that I'm just straight up kicking it when it's down. And with my Lynette's, I'm just kind of swiping at it, throwing rocks at it, and it finally gets back up. Look how much damage it leveled done. So again, because I'm staying in front of it like this, it will still do the exact same attacks when I first start fighting this boss. So again, it will just ground pound like this, dash out of that if you can, and just go back in and get more licks in. That's literally the entire thing. However, don't get too greedy and try to like always press forward into the boss, because here's what happens if you try to get a little bit too greedy. You can see me like slide up its thing, and then you might get caught out in an attack like this. Luckily I dashed, but that's just something to keep in mind. So again, he's going to just do the exact same attack, swipe at me, and unfortunately I got hit here, but luckily I had Noelle shield up, and that's just something that you just have to kind of consider, you know, in case if you don't have the timings properly. Like I'm not gonna dodge here, and you can see that it's a pretty decent range when it comes to getting hit. But for one last demonstration, he's going to go back, turn back into the Golden Tyrant of bullshit, stand underneath it, and again, after the second attack, run away. And then extinguish, and then he'll come back to Earth, and I'm just going to constantly try to extinguish him as fast as I can. So again, stay very close to him, and you'll not get hit. But again, after the second attack, make sure to run away, or else you will get hit, and you'll probably get KO'd. So, boom. Splash, splash, splash. He'll release 2 attacks, 1 and 2, and then he'll just shit out a little totem. And here's what happens if you don't extinguish it. Yeah, you might want to extinguish it now, huh? So, get inside, and luckily, because the attacks will deplete his gauge, you can kind of wait it out, but I highly recommend not doing that, because he also doesn't give you a big DPS phase, as you saw there. There you go, one last slice from Lynette, and it is down. Now, again, it's a bit more complicated than the Fat Dino, but all you gotta really remember is to bring Hydro, and also just make sure that you stick yourself either in front of it or underneath it, depending on which phase it is, and either you won't get hit or you'll get very easily choreographed and dodgeable attacks. That's all there is. Good luck, have fun, and let me know if you have any questions in the comments below.